All right, so the first thing we want to do is save it. I just did that. So in this case, just save as. I put it up here in the Flying Man folder, flyingman.psd, save. I already did it, but I'll just replace it. All right, once that's done, go to the Finder, and we're going to open the sunset.jpg, and here we go. So let's just go ahead, take this and drag it into this folder. And okay, first thing we're going to do is I actually want to reverse this. I want this the cloudy bit to be on the right side. So you can do that by going in here and transforming flip horizontal. So that's pretty simple. And then let's just place this up here. And it's not quite the exact right size. So actually move this up a little higher. I would say somewhere around here. And let's go and turn this into multiply. All right, so that means that everything that's white gets transparent. Everything that's dark gets added. Hit Command T or free transform over here, and just make this a little bit wider so that it goes across the whole picture. All right, and we're pretty much at the right spot. Something like this, kind of not totally lined up the horizons, but pretty close. If you want to, we can move this up a little bit. It's usually a good practice to, if you're going to borrow the clouds from one photo to another, to keep the horizon pretty good. All right, so let's just call this sky, and then add a layer mask, and just take the gradient tool, and on the layer mask, let's hit D for default, inverted so it's black in the front. All right, and then just go right above the horizon, and go a little higher like this. There you go, that's simple. I'm basically hiding the whole bottom bit. You see, and it's just the clouds showing. Now, some of these clouds are going in front of this building, so, and I don't want to change this mask per se, but we could. And a nice way to not lose this mask is just create a group, so Command G, create group. See, this layer is now in this group. We'll call this sky, and then you add another layer mask to this group, so it's affecting everything that's within it. And in this case, let's zoom in a little bit. Zoom into 200% or 300%. Hit B for brush. Let's do a small 20, and let's do 60. 20 and 60. Even 20 is too big. Let's do 10. All right, and here our opacity is 100. That's fine. We could do 50, or 100 is fine actually. All right, now what we're doing is we're basically going to see how these clouds kind of go over this building. We want to basically get rid of that. So with black, we're going to just shift click everywhere on the edges over here. All right, I'm gonna have to undo that. I'm undoing all those. My brush is much too hard. So let's go with a 20%. That's better. You know what? Let's try 0%. It's a small brush, so it already has a pretty soft edge. Okay, and you'll see that the that soft edge definitely will help show that it's not. We're not forcing the blending is much better. Okay, something like this. All right, something like this is pretty good. Now, we can't really see what we're not masking in here, so I'm just gonna go to Channels, click on this mask, and then hide the RGB so that I'm free to make this just seeing the mask itself. So that's a cool little way. Just Channels, you got your layer mask in there, so that's pretty easy. All right, something like this. What I usually do is go in here, magic wand, and then select, modify, expand, do about 5 pixels, and fill, which in this case Alt Delete works pretty good. Deselect. So that's a method I use to fill. Doesn't work with little tiny slivers like this because the magic wand couldn't get in there. Anyhow, there we go. Put the RGB back, hide the mask, come back here, and pretty good. It's a little too wide, so I'm going to go in here and go to Levels, Command L, or if you go to Image Adjustments, here, I'll show you. I'm selecting on the mask, Image Adjustments, Levels, Command L, right? And here, I can darken or lighten the mask, making the blending fit better. Pretty cool, huh? Something like this, and that's better. And if I want to, I can also feather it by going like this. So the problem with that is that it does a little too much blending and you get a little halo around it. Anyhow, we've added the sky pretty simply, and it's pretty seamless. All right, so we got that sky, and let's add another. I'm actually going to put this above the shadow like that, and let's add another one, and we'll call this fog. Okay, and hit B for brush. In this case, I'm going to make it very big, very soft, and I want something pretty warm, something like this. I like picking colors from the image as opposed to directly in here because I feel like it'll blend better. It's part of this image already. All right, going here. For the fog, put it on screen mode, like so, and let's make the opacity 40%. Okay, and I'm gonna add a lot of fog here. I went down here, some here, something like that. So before, after. It's definitely added a foggy sort of aspect to this photo. All right, and all right, let's just save. So Command S or Control S on a PC, and let's take a look at the flying man. That's the next part right here. You can go ahead and close the sunset. So now what we're going to do is outline this guy to put him in this other image. So let's go ahead and do that. In this case, because it's pretty dark and sometimes when you're getting close, you want to see better, I oftentimes, right before I outline something or extract something, I create a adjustment layer, and I usually do levels, and I just lighten everything, all right, considerably, to the point where it's not very pretty to look at, but the edge is extremely clear. There's no question as to where, you know, his leg is as opposed to the water. Whereas here, there's a few areas where you may wonder. It's just easier. All right. So do that. Let's bring this into the frame here, like so. All right. Okay, zoom out, and we're gonna go to Quick Mask. So that's this one right here, and my go-to is 4585. All right, that's my go-to brush size in Quick Mask. Might be too big for this one. I usually try to outline around 300% if I can. If an image is not very big, which is the case for this one, it's very grainy as you can tell, 200 might have to do. 300 is better, you get more detail, so let's try it. In this case, this brush is much too big, so right click and let's do 15 and 50. The smaller your brush is, the smaller your hardness has to be, because a 10 pixel brush with this 85% hardness is going to seem almost like a very, very, very hard brush. Whereas on a big brush, that gradient is proportionally bigger. All right, so hit return on this. Let's just start around here and shift click everywhere around. It basically shift clicking makes a line between 2 points. And seeing that the brush has a rounded aspect, it does a sort of a curve from every shift click. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you have it, this method of selecting is actually extremely accurate, and you get really nice soft edges that are editable as well, which we'll see in a minute. I show this this method of extracting is definitely my primary method of selecting things, because I can get, it's manual, so I'm not leaving anything up to some magic wand or, you know, a channel selector or, you know, color selection and stuff like that. So this is really nice. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this around the entire selection except for the hair. I'll leave the hair out and add that later. All right, now we've come all around. Let's take the magic wand tool over here and just click. Oh, it's taking the image. When this happens, just deselect that, and you got to make sure you're on. You click on the quick mask. Just hide the RGB. Do it again, and that should work fine. All right, and then here you go, select, modify, expand. Let's do 5 pixels, should be good. If the brush, so the brush that we had, how big was it, 15? I usually do half of the brush, so let's undo that 5. Our brush was 15, so let's expand by 7, something like this. And Alt-Delete to fill it in, and deselect, and we have a very clean quick mask outline. Let's hit Q and come out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. So just hit the little mask button over here in the channels, and that saves that channel. The reason I'm saving it is because I'm not ready to apply the mask, because I need to do some work on his hair. What I'm going to do is, here, let's go out of here. And with the marquee tool, let's just minus everything right around here. I don't want this. I just want basically his head, something like here, like this. Okay. All right, and we're going to go ahead and hit select and mask. Now, taking the Refine Edge brush tool, we're going to go and make this a little bigger, holding Command and Alt, or sorry, Control and Alt rather, and just go over here on these little hairs that come out here, a little bit over here. Just want to make sure we get some of the nuance of his hair. Oh, undo that. Just a little bit around. All right, something like this. Doesn't matter if it goes in here because we're going to add this selection. Okay, something like that, and we're good. Hit OK, and now I can make. So now I have two masks, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to Command to load this mask, but I'm going to hold on Shift, which means it's going to add. All right. So when I do that, it added that. Ooh, I missed a little piece here. So let's go back. Let's go back in the history here, and let's go to right before we save the selection. We went and select and mask. Right before select and mask, let's go back and do that again. I missed that little piece right here. So let's add that, add some over here. Let's make this a little bigger, something like this, up here. I should have really just gone around all where his hair is, because we want to get some nice detail. We don't really want that, so let's get rid of this. Okay, there we go. What I really wanted was this detail over here. Okay, that's done. Hit OK. Make a new mask, and then Command Shift to add this first one. Here we go. All right, now that we have the selection, just go ahead and hit mask like this, and we can get rid of this levels right here. So let's just go ahead and delete that, select that and hit delete. And then let's go to the crop tool and just crop this so that we don't have too big of an image. Whoops, undo that. Right here, like so. Make sure delete crop pixels and check, and we're done. All right, now let's just drop him in here. Just take it and drop it in, and here we go. We have our guy. So we can call this guy Flying Man. All right, and then we'll edit him and make him blend a little better in the upcoming chapters.